I went in because I already spoke several languages: English, Zulu, Southern Sutu, Ndebele, Shona, and a little bit of French. All of them use familiar alphabet-based writing. So I thought I would be able to at least sound words out, even if I didn't know them yet. But then I opened my first Thai lesson and I realized I couldn't read a single thing. I was greatly humbled. No familiar letters, no syllables that I recognized, just an entire page of symbols, plus tones that could completely change a word depending on how you said it. For the first time, I couldn't guess how to pronounce anything. I couldn't lean on what I already knew because, quite frankly, I didn't know anything. And suddenly, even the simplest word felt intimidating. I caught myself hesitating before speaking.
Um, Speaker, you have completely frozen. Your video,
Yes.
your video and your audio has completely just froze and stopped. Sorry, Sibu.
Um,
We weren't sure where you were, and we didn't want to have any delays. But please, you can
no,
continue. You can
not
continue
at all.
answering.
Not at all. Yes. Well, for
She
if
might
this
be
was a
having
there we go.
internet
Thank
connection
you.
problem.
I'm so sorry. I forgot I was connected to campus Wi-Fi, so it disconnected. But I switched to my data now. So sorry.
No
Um,
worries, speaker. The timestamp on your or the timekeeper on our panelist. Does anyone have the timestamp when we last
uh, is it okay if I just start over?
start from scratch? If
Yeah.
that is within the rule sets, then I'm perfectly fine with that. Right then.
That seems perfectly fine.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that. Um, all right. So my speech will begin in three, two, one. About a year ago, I decided to learn Thai. I went in confident because I already spoke several languages: English, Zulu, Southern Sutu, Ndebele, Shona, and a little bit of French. All of them use familiar alphabet-based writing. So I was used to being able to at least sound the words out, even if I didn't quite know them yet. Then I opened my first Thai lesson and realized I couldn't read a single thing. I was greatly humbled. No familiar letters, no syllables that I recognized, just an entire page of symbols, plus tones that could completely change a word depending on how you said it. For the first time, I couldn't guess how to pronounce anything. I couldn't lean on what I already knew because, quite frankly, I didn't know anything. And suddenly, even the simplest word felt intimidating. I caught myself hesitating before speaking, checking twice, thrice, sometimes even just staying quiet. Not because learning Thai was impossible, but because I didn't want to feel stupid starting from zero again. And that moment stuck with me. Because that's exactly how limits quietly form. Not when something is truly impossible, but when discomfort becomes stronger than curiosity. That's how invisible cages begin. Not with walls, with hesitation. When you hear the word cage, you probably picture metal bars, a lock, maybe something dramatic from a movie. A cage is obvious. You see it. You know you're trapped. You want out. But the cages that shape our lives rarely look like that. The most effective cages are invisible. No bars, no locks, just walls we don't question. Some cages are built from expectation. People like us don't do that. That's not a realistic career. You should play it safe. No one forces you. No God stands by the door. Instead, we get approval for staying inside, applause for choosing the sensible path. And suddenly, a life chosen to avoid disappointment becomes a life we never actually chose. When approval is the reward, the cage feels like protection. It doesn't feel like you giving up something, it feels like you're being responsible. And responsibility is wonderful until it quietly replaces curiosity. Other cages are made of the biggest enemy of growth: complacency. We know the routine, we know the people, you know you won't fail, but you also won't grow. Trying something new risks embarrassment, and embarrassment feels illegal, especially in an era where anything you do can go viral in a split second. So we stay where we're competent instead of becoming capable of more. A hard chair in a locked room is obviously a cage. A comfortable couch in a locked room just feels cozy. Then there are mental cages, the most convincing kind. I'm just bad at math. I'm not a leader. I'm not creative. These sentences don't sound like prison bars. They sound like harmless personality traits. But every time we repeat one, we weld another bar into place. No one else locked the door. The mind did. Because the brain loves efficiency. Once it labels something as not for me, it stops trying. And the scary part, we carry the key the whole time. We also live in digital cages. Your phone feels like unlimited freedom. Information, people, entertainment, you name it. But algorithms quietly learn what we like and show us more of it. Same opinions, same style, same worldview. It feels like a choice, but our perspectives slowly shrink. And you don't notice the walls closing in because the wallpaper is your favorite color. Even success can be a cage. Now, I know what you may be thinking. What does a high school student know about success? Well, even though I haven't experienced the much feared adult world, I do know this much: good salary, prestige, a respectable title, a path that looks impressive from the outside. But if leaving means losing status, comfort, or identity, people stay in lives they secretly dislike, which is why we have teachers who hate their jobs, doctors who faint at the sight of blood, architects who never seem to have a working design, specialists who are depressed even if they're at the top of the career ladder, and the list just goes on. A golden cage is still a cage. It just shines bright enough to distract us from the door. So, why don't these cages look like cages? Because they don't hurt at first. They feel safe. Because everyone around us is inside it too. So it seems normal. Because they form slowly, like walls rising, one brick at a time. And because there's no villain to blame, no guard, no lock, just habits, fears, and assumptions. A visible cage makes you fight, an invisible one makes you settle. The cost of these hidden cages isn't dramatic, it's quiet. Untaken chances, unexplored talents, a life lived by default instead of by decision. The tragedy isn't failure, it's never finding out what you were truly capable of. But the good news is this: invisible cages have invisible doors. You don't need to break metal. You just need to question limits. Ask, who decided this is not for me? Do one thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable. That discomfort often marks the edge of the cage. Talk to people outside of your usual circle because new perspectives are like windows in a closed room. Freedom rarely feels comfortable at first. It feels uncertain, a little awkward, slightly terrifying. But that's not a sign to turn back. That's a sign you found the door. Still bars can hold the body, but bars made of comfort, fear, and habit can hold an entire life. The first step out is simply noticing the walls. So, which cage are you getting out of today? At the beginning of my speech, I told you about trying to learn Thai. How, after speaking several languages, I suddenly faced a page I couldn't even begin to read. The language itself wasn't the barrier. The real barrier was the moment I almost decided that because it felt unfamiliar, it must not be for me. And most of the cages in our lives work the same way. They don't appear when something is impossible. They appear when something feels unfamiliar, and we mistake that feeling for inability. So maybe freedom doesn't start with breaking walls. Maybe it starts the next time something feels completely new and you go ahead and try anyway. So, in the spirit of walking out of cages, I won't just thank you in English for listening to my speech. I'll do it in Thai instead. ขอบคุณค่ะ